talking about the kill list that the president has is maintaining, and using drones essentially.
Yeah.
One of the things that came out of that, I mean, I find many aspects of the story disturbing. One of the things that came out of it was that the Justice Department has essentially said that due process doesn't necessarily have to be judicial in this instance, particularly, specifically, the killing of an American citizen abroad. Give me your perspective on that.
I think this is an area that needs two things. We need better congressional oversight of this area, and then we need to develop a clearer notion of what the appropriate level of due process is. If an American has taken up arms against the United States, is on a battlefield shooting at U.S. soldiers in a battlefield overseas, we have no hesitation in the context of that battlefield conduct to shoot that soldier or any other enemy soldier. As you work your way more back towards specific targeted killings outside of a battlefield context, it gets more and more challenging to figure out how you provide the, as you said, due process necessary to make Americans comfortable that that terrible power is never misused.
I mean, do you have a sense that we know that there was essentially a finding by the Office of Legal Counsel in the Department of Justice that allows this program to continue, and it was found legal? Do you have a sense of what is in that letter? In other words, we have essentially a secret law that says this is okay, but I'm not allowed to look at it anywhere. Senators?
I fought many battles with the Bush Justice Department to get access to the Office of Legal Counsel, the OLC memos that supported the torture program, the warrantless wiretapping program, and other excesses of that administration. And I can remember being taken in and told that I could read them but not have copies, that I couldn't have them brought to my office. I had to go to the executive branch in order to read them. We battled over whether I was allowed to take notes.
Is there any justification for something like this?
Well, there is, and the argument is that a president has the right to get advice from his lawyers or her lawyers, and like any attorney-client relationship, that's kind of sacrosanct. And people who might wish the president ill politically don't get to jump into that conversation any more than a prosecutor gets to jump into the conversation between a defense lawyer and the defense lawyer's legal counsel. Where that begins to change is where the opinion isn't just a legal opinion being provided to the president, but is in effect an administrative act of the administration that is now the basis for authorizing activities. And there's a tension between those two that I don't think we've resolved very well yet from a point of view of our congressional oversight.
It seems to break down a little bit that someone could rely on a memo from the OLC as if it were a statute, and use that as a get out of jail free card, or a you can't prosecute me card in the future. But at the same time, it's also, but when in the terms of it being protected correspondence, if you will, it's merely advice.
Well, and the probably worst case of that ever was in the Bush administration. Gonzalez, Attorney General, Office of Legal Counsel opinions that authorized the Bush torture program. As one of the first people outside of the administration to read those, I was really horrified at the quality of the work.
And how can we say that it authorizes something if it's merely advice?
If it's merely advice.
I mean, isn't that the
That's
problematic?
the point. It's sort of at the boundary between being just legal advice to somebody versus being an administrative authorization in its own right. And in that case, clearly, the quality of the legal work had been degraded in order to reach the outcome that they wanted to. And so that's kind of the worst case scenario, in which not only is it just to find out what's going on, because it's in effect an administrative authorization that you want access to be able to read those things, but also, frankly, if they're tanking the opinion in order to get a preordained result, you want to be able to have a look at it, be able to make an impartial assessment as to whether that underlying legal opinion is really legitimate or whether it's results-oriented legal opinion making.
And so have senators had the opportunity to see that OLC document that the Obama Justice Department has produced authorizing these kill lists? And
I am not aware of it.
And so let me, I want to move on. Is there any attempt in the Senate to is anybody asking to see that document?
To the extent that's happening, it would be happening through the Intelligence and Armed Services Committee leadership in the first instance.
Okay, and I imagine that is obviously sort of secret stuff.
That's about as far as I can go.